Okay.
Yeah. So my name is Erlo. I work for NetApp. In our projects, sometimes we need to do some automations, and I have tried this a couple times, and attract my interest. So I just want to understand and learn as much as I can about it. Yeah. Might help me by use it.
Okay, cool. Gentleman right back.
Yeah, hello. My name is Simon. I work at PCSO in Berlin, which is a security company which is founded by Allianz, Volkswagen, I think BASF and Bayer. And we're currently running a private OpenStack cloud in our company, and I'm here to learn much less about it as I can. So I had a brief chat with Rico yesterday, so maybe we're also going to some upstream edges.
Awesome. Well, let's continue in a clockwise direction, right at the back.
So I'm working just in a neighborhood close down Jesuit cloud, and we are just migrating off from Azure Stack to OpenStack, all our infrastructure.
Wow, congrats.
Hi, I'm Zoran. I'm just here for the electricity stuff.
Fair enough, we'll take it. Somebody I can't see.
You wanna start?
Just checking some updates since Vancouver. And also we'll talk about some of the option to create tenants. I want to see if we can make something happen. Because when I create a project, I want to add tenants and from the Active Directories and see how we can work something out. So I don't know if that was, I don't think it was possible.
You say you want to create a project with inside of a heap stack?
Using heaps.
Okay.
And I want to add tenants that are on active directories. Or maybe group that are on active directories for that project. I want to try to use heap instead of doing, right now I created this project using the heap templates, but then I have to manually add tenants into that whole group to that project. So I want to try to combine that.
Yeah. There is a Keystone Group resource as well, so in theory you should be able to do that. You might want to talk to that though. It sounds like you two and that row are doing similar things. That's the kind of admin side of it has not gotten a lot of attention because we're mostly focused on end users. But I know there are a lot of people using Heat to do admin type stuff on the operator side. So yeah, if you'll have any feedback about issues you're having with those use cases, then that's something we can look into. Yeah.
Basically, one question was that would be how much these long-running stacks that admin creates, how much they will constantly consume heaps resources like memory, CPU cycles, whatever, all the heat service itself. So like if we think that like the user created stacks are, well, maybe not that ephemeral, but they will go away at some point probably. So user will be creating them and deleting them, but these admin stuff, they are more or less for the life cycle, maybe for the whole life of the cloud.
Yeah. They tend to be reasonably small. folks who don't know me, I'm Zane Bennett, long time Heat core contributor. You all know Rico, I'm sure, as the PTL. Hello, ex-Heat refugees. So, yeah, I'll let you get back to your presentation.
Oh, yeah, sure. So you see the show link here. So whatever we're talking here, the show link will go to the slide, so you can download it by yourself. We used to also do onboarding as well, but with very poor quality of video. I'm sorry about that. We got no results for recording this, but we're trying to do our best using the phone there. So you can either complain that to the foundation or buy me a new equipment, something interesting. So let's get started. I think we already took some time to thank everyone to help us. I'm kind of wish everyone like in this room will become one of the committer or reviewer. We are asking for help because we need more reviewers. We need more people to help to contribute. We definitely welcome anyone. We are willing to onboard you anytime, not just in here, physically or virtually, online. It will be fine. The thing is that we need contributors, so we definitely need any kind of help. We also have some plan like cross project, like in self-healing siege, in other projects as well. So if you're interested in scenarios, well, you can find us. We got scenarios. So we need your help to do what we needed. So how to contribute is that I'm going to brief through some of the best generic information which you can find in the previous onboarding as well. So you don't have to worry you missing any information here. So we need, like, if you want to review, send a user story, bugs, blueprints. Here's a link you needed, like storyboard. If you don't know how to use storyboard, I got a really quick storyboard guideline as well. And we have documents. Nowadays we're trying to keep improve it. If you are interested in help on documents, on our user interface as well, on our libraries, our Heat project, it will be all awesome. We also need people to help on the task and Heat translator stuff as well. So find your interest. And if you want feedback, we got team meeting weekly at Wednesday. Now it's more like a bi-week, but we will have people at the time there definitely, like you can treat it like an office hour. You can write the topic you want to talk about. We not necessarily just do it in the meeting. We can do it anytime. So yeah, here's the slide and videos link I got. So don't worry, I will share the show link after at the question time. So I'll make sure that you get this slide. No worry. And also please check our PTG subpad because that is like a lot of technical discussions we have is over there. So if you are thinking about like developing or operating, you want to see more detail, you welcome to check out PTG subpad. You will see, okay, so this guy are going to do something or not, or trying to do something, and you can provide your feedback. Or next time, join us at the PTG, which will be Denver Summit as well. Then we can have a decent discussions on whatever you are or your company asks you to do on this kind of a Heat scenario. So we got multiple repos. Here's a list. Feel free to check it. And we also, now this is like a basic Heat architecture.
We should stop sharing this slide because that's not many That was like a proposal from like 2012 that was never implemented.
Yeah, it's like, but okay, so I'll do that. Anyway, so let's say our architecture is that we have a RESTful API server, we have a Heat engine service, and we also, that's like most backend and frontend stuff we got. And so a lot of our like resource implementations or scheduling mechanism is inside of the heat engine, which everything I'm talking about is under the heat repo. So you can check that, including how we deal with the YAML, how we parse the YAML, how we parse the state template.
So almost everything you'll ever care about is inside heat engine.
Yeah.
Heat API is a very thin wrapper that basically takes incoming HTTP requests and converts them to RPC and sends them over. Also RPC to the heat engine, gets the response, converts it back to HTTP response. So it's a very thin layer. And as I said, almost everything you'll ever care about happens within heat engine.
And so I'm also already covered this in the previous slide, video. So I'm going to quick jump around on the starting point. So usually, like what Stan say, a lot of the service mostly you care about the functionality is all at under the heat engine part. So if you go to the heat/engine/service.py, you will see the kind of like a service entry point, which you can, if you interested in how the function works, you can start from there to say, oh, here's how to create a stack. And we
so this is basically the API that heat API calls.
Yeah.
The RPC messages come into the heat engine service.
Yeah. And we also have a convergence functionality, which means that we can separate your resource synchronously into different kind of engine, which there is a worker running inside the engine, so the worker will take away the job and will achieve like doing things like parallelly, not just like one thread, which will increase the performance. So if you're interested in DRP, you can check on from here. And if you're interested in resource maintaining, so here's like the orange and the red is those attributes and functions that usually we will implement it for a specific resource. So you can do your own resource. You can even create a resource. Say, oh, this resource create a Kubernetes pod, which is
Sorry, may I ask a quick question about the previous slide?
Previous.
Yeah. So there is a big connecting engine and worker, and here at Summit there was a talk when guys replaced RabbitMQ with big dispatch routers for communication between Nova components. So they eliminated MQB broker and replaced it with MQB dispatch router. This allowed them, for example, to increase the latency, but it works on, as I understand, it works if your process uses casts, for notifications, for example, they still have to use broker, but for PC calls through MQB, they can use this special router infrastructure instead of broker. So really here, if someone tried to replace RabbitMQ with completely special router, they are in MQB. Just maybe you heard someone try, or you know it's impossible.
So we have a gate job that is testing with MQP1, so Proton, I think. So that works. In terms of how the RPC works, the RPC, so like as you can see from the diagram, we were wrong diagram. We were originally thinking that we'd have separate worker and engine processes, and we did not end up doing that. So everything runs inside one process, which is called heat engine. RPC from the REST API, so heat API to heat engine, is using call. So it's, there's a message going there, it waits for the reply, the message comes back, and then sends a response. RPC from the engine to the workers or between the workers, which again is all the same process as well, whatever. But that RPC interface uses cast. So it's purely, we send out a message, it goes in a queue somewhere. Someone will pick it up eventually, but we're not waiting for a reply. So, I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yes, it answers my question.
okay, yeah. So that part's using cast, the other part's using call.
So I was interested in hearing if it uses calls or casts, because they said that for casts it kind of should work. So probably I can try.
Okay.
But basically, he does the same as everybody else in OpenStack. It relies on Oslo messaging library and
Yeah.
abstractions that it provides. So
Yes.
whatever is officially supported there,
We will get supported as well.
Yeah. And I think we're one of the few projects that actually tests with Proton, so we're more sure than other people that it does actually work. Indeed.
Yeah, we're surprised it did it. Good job. So yeah, let's keep moving. Yeah, feel free to interrupt anytime. It's all about to let you guys feel you're learning something. It's not about trying to do presentation at all. So next thing will be the external resource. So the external resource is simpler concept that you adding one more parameter. Say this is for external. You adding one more parameter, say external ID, and give it ID. For this example, it is a neutral network, and which you only allow in the stack. You only allow to use it to use this kind of format to create and delete. You're not allowed to update update the network parameters here. But with this, when you delete the stack, you won't touch your external network. So that network will be there externally. That is what the current design is, and you can use this network, this network resource and reference, like you say, that getting resource from another router. So you actually can you won't break too much of your structure, and you will get the benefit to fit in the external resource.
Yeah.
I think
So you can get, sorry.
the most actual use of that is not by using get resource, because if you only use that, you can just pass the UID from above.
Yeah, it's
It's
good.
mostly to get in attributes from this
Yeah,
resource.
that is more
Yeah.
correct scenario. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that is the thing that you can do things that you usually do to other resource. And next to test your patch.
Rick, I think you skip a slide as well.
You win.
You skip the resource.
I think I mentioned it.
Kind of useful, isn't it?
Yeah. So to make sure that everybody understands this one, so it's about when you're trying to create your own resource, you allow to, and you can plug it into Heat, and those are the functionalities that you should implement in your own resource. If you're willing to do so, you can. You're willing to do so, you can do it in your own environment, which is not breaking anything. It's not forbidden by Heat, by OpenStack. We actually have this structure for you to do it, and we have a resource plugin guideline if you want to learn how to do it. There is a specific detail, and in long term, we also thinking about have a resource for Kubernetes, but it just it's still an idea or something. But if so, that if you have the same idea that you say, hey, I want to have a resource for something, you can try to find us to see if that is something that we can help to do it together. If not, you still implement it, and we will willing to help others to know that you are doing something resource plugging.
by just creating the files, the modules for these resources, putting them in a separate location, which he can find them. This is written in, this is the config option in Heap for where to look for such resources, and they will be magically available in your Heap to be used for. So
yeah, so you don't have to install them in the heap tree and mess with packaging or any of that. You just drop them in. I think it's used with heap by default, but you can change the config file. And yeah, it'll just pick up and import it.
Okay. And let's keep moving. So the next thing is to test your patch, and now you can allow to test your patch with 10-pass tests, which we also do it in our gate. And you can go to our Heat 10-pass plugin repository, and it's just some very simple step for you to set up your 10-pass and to run the Heat 10-pass test. And usually, if you just try to basically developing something very simple, so trivial, maybe you want to just using parts with trying to check the PPA and trying to check with Python versions. We recommend you to also check both Python 27 and Python 35 and 36. Because we are kind of like trying to support the Python 3 at a point, so in the future we will move to Python 3, which is more preferred. And if you want to debug a stack, that the one thing that you can do is to list all the events. Well, you can always like list the resource and try to lives as a nested deep as you welcome to do it, and you will see what is the resource situation you got. And for example, if you got a stack resource inside of your root stack, then you can use that stack resource ID to try to list the resource list for that child stack, or we call it nested stack. And that child stack, it will list all the information for that child stack instead of all the way from the root stack to what you want. And it works the same for most mechanism in Heat. So you can treat the child stack as a specific stack, and you can concentrate those messages. I want to all the events from a specific child stack which is broken. I want to see why. So event will be a thing. And
so we should also mention there is an OpenStack stack failure list, and that will basically take you right to the information you need. You know, whether it failed deep in a nested stack or whatever, like it'll show you straight away. Here's your failures. So that's probably a good first stop when you're debugging.
Yeah, that's something newer, but it's very useful stuff. OpenStack stack failure, and so when something really fails, and the thing is that what you want to do is that if you want to delete a stack, sometimes if you start, it might help to try to delete it again. Because we not control the entire cloud, but it will help sometimes. And if you can't find any other reasons, or you knew what you are doing, like if I'm in my own developing environment, I know that's because I'm writing something in, break the entire thing. You can also reset the stack status into normal status and trying to delete again to see, or you can reset the status and restore the code back, restore the code repository, and restart the service and try to do it again. So we usually don't recommend you to directly abandon the stack, but if you really need it, there is a functionality called stack abandon, OpenStack stack abandon. So
you need to enable that config file.
yeah, you need to enable this abandon and adopt and there's another import, right? Export. Do we need to enable export in config? I think we do.
Maybe because export is tied to abandon.
Yes, and okay. So that if you want to config, you can also set in your config file set a number of engine and enable stack. Oh yeah, this thing is set enable the stack abandon because that will simplify your environment for you to debug, which is not in production way, but if you are developing, that is something that you can use. And you can run the software config, and so we are. I try to shorten the time here, so let's do this. So anyone here interested on running software config? So if no one, we can just skip. Okay, that means skip this. So it basically just.
That's forget about stuff.
Yes, and there is something that I'm going to introduce you guys is to have a heat container agent, which is you might aware that you have to install something in your own operating system to run the heat software config and software deployment, which is the OS collect config, OS refresh config, and you will trigger a hook to whatever you want, like Bullet, like Ansible. And you can, now there is a way for you to put everything into doc file. So there's a sample for you, it's totally usable. And you can even trigger another, trigger Docker command using from this doc file. So that means that you don't have to install anything in your operating system right now. You just need the ability to allow to create an image. Not necessarily to be Docker, but it's all the imaging. Container image you need. So let me skip because I have a lot of things after that. So let me briefly go to a lot of things. So I will make sure that you guys knew what we can achieve and what you might be interested in. And then if you're interested, touch with us. And if you want to debug in the software config, you can you can go into your instance and trying to see from the OS collect config. To see if that is connected with background and metadata from server, or again you can using the software deployment show or using the event list, which is useful, very useful to see what exactly the event the heat is receiving. So that's something you can do, and you can always change the signal for the signal transport, like into. The default will be CFN signal for some historical reason, but you can change it to Zakar signal, which is, from my perspective, is better than using CFN signal. Yes, and you have a lot of signal choices. Skip this, skip this, skip this, skip this, skip this.
Yes, I would like to mention for you guys. That's what our deployment teams are constantly hitting themselves on. That for all this functionality that Heat uses that involves some sort of signaling from inside VMs back to Heat, which is wait conditions and software deployments, you need to have a working routing from inside your tenant network to your public API network.
Yeah.
That's not every deployment is being set up this way. If you want to use Heat and use this sort of functionality, you have to resources, you have to set it up this way. So that from any network created inside the tenant with the help of extra router to some other network, whatever, there should be so the code inside your VM should be able to access the public API of the cloud it is being routed.
Yes.
Does it need to talk only to Git API endpoint or to Keystone endpoint as well? I mean, can we say distinguish Git API somehow, you know, and only create policies or security groups to allow access, you know, from VMs to Git API endpoint only, and just, I mean, Keystone?
They will need to hit Keystone to get a token, I believe. They'll need to get a token from Keystone before they come
The
in.
software deployment, I think, will need to get a token because it will first receive, I think, only a trust ID, and by that it will go to fetch a token.
Yeah.
For-
You will need to get the sign in.
Yeah, and for the weight conditions, I think only Heat API is because you.
That's right, because they're pre-signed, you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe,
It will eventually refresh tokens, right? I'm just.
No, weight condition is a kind of like a one-shot
yeah.
action where basically what it does is that in Node you have a multiple resource in your stack, and one of them depends on the, for example, you are setting up a data, I mean, the classical example, load balanced WordPress with database, the poster child of all the automation stuff. You are setting up the database, then you start to set up the instances, and you need already the database running. But in Nova, the soon the instance is powered on, it's active, and it doesn't know whether the actual startup of the application inside the cloud init, for example, has finished. That's why you can watch, take a look at resources. There's I think Rico had the link somewhere about Heat templates. This is official repo maintained by Heat community, which has not, I would say, not a production level stacks and templates, but examples of templates, how to use various pieces of functionality Heat provides you. And there you can find examples on using weight conditions. Basically, you modify the user data script you are feeding to your instances, so that at the very end it will call to the Heat API saying, I'm done. Or you can make a script more intelligent. If something goes wrong, you can post that I failed with some specific message, and then you will see even from Heat stack, basically, from listing the Heat resource, what actually went wrong inside your cloud script.
So, since there are a couple of people interested in this, maybe it's worth doing a quick dive into how Heat does users and authentication and stuff.
Yeah.
So basically a request comes in from the user with a token, and in general within Heat we will use that token to call out to other services. So we're using the same token that the user gave to us to call other services. Where that gets difficult is when you have things which are kind of ongoing after the stack is finished creating that Heat still needs to do. So one example is auto-scaling, weight condition thing. So there's a couple of mechanisms. One is that we generally create a trust, and it depends a bit on which resources you have in your stack. Because if you don't need it, we don't do it, I don't believe. But we'll create a Keystone trust, which enables us to get a token later to work on the user's behalf again, even after the original token may have expired. So that means we just store a trust ID in the database. We're not storing username and password or anything like that. Although that is an option you can turn on a config file for historical reasons, but don't. The ultimate you want to use is trusts. I believe that's the following config.
So if you see that on the monitor, this is the auto scheduling template example, which you see the list is that is all in the Heat template. And you see the very right side, you will see the URL is getting trust plus URL template. So you will get a single URL and binding with the trust to send it to the other side. And it will use that trust to get the token to certificate that.
That's actually a bad example because that's a trust that ADA is creating itself. It's not one that's created.
So also about the auth, just to note, since we're talking trusts, well, nowadays it's not more of a sign, but even for older OpenStack distributions, for OpenStack versions, Heat requires Keystone v3 once.
Yes. Yeah.
Because trusts only exist in Keystone. And for Heat to work, you need to have there is a script, helper script in Heat repo that creates it, but so you need a special Heat, a separate domain in Keystone for Heat, and the user with admin rights within this domain that you enter into Heat configuration.
Yeah, so that's the other part is when we create a resource like software deployment, weight condition, anything that has to signal back to Heat. What we don't ever want to do is give your user credentials to the server that's created in Node because that would be very bad. So what we do is there is a separate domain in Keystone, which Pablo just mentioned, which is called, what is it?
Whatever it is called.
Heat stack user or something like that.
Whatever it is called, it must be created and configured in Heat.
Yeah, so like separate the authentication process and try to secure your own.
So he will create a Keystone user in that domain for each stack that needs it. And that user, because it's in that domain, it won't have access to anything. Okay. So it won't have access to anything in the actual user's project by default, but he will allow that user to access the particular resources in the particular stack that it was created to use.
Also, with that comes the limitation or like how to set it up. Since this is the Heat service user must be able to actively create and delete users and projects inside this domain.
Yes.
Correct. You have to make it separate, multi-domain, even for example, if your main users come from read-only LDAP, so that won't work because you won't be able to create. So you have to set up Keystone in multi-domain fashion with the default domain, for example, backed up by read-only LDAP, but the Heat domain must be backed up by something more readable, writable, like simple MySQL, for example. Backend.
So thanks guys, and we out of time. We actually passed by 3 minutes already. So that's just one last thing I would like to mention. There is an auto scheduling plus salvaging use case that you can use in Heat template to do it. And we got the template example thanks by Zen here to make it work. So if more than willing to try, since we're out of time, that I'm not going to say anything about that. Let's save the rest of time to questions. And if you have any other question that we didn't cover that issue you want to know, those two guys that speak the most, so they do everything. So find them, kill them. No, don't. But find them, then we will try to answer your questions. Otherwise, that's trying to review and commit, and we are more than willing to help. We need co-reviewers. So if anyone want to do it, like you do it, and we will more than willing to say yes, you are a co-reviewer. And that is definitely something we will give you. We're willing to give it. So since we're out of time, you feel free to come and go. If you've got a question, you can meet us here or we will went outside. But hey, thanks everyone to be here. I will send a video record out. That's not going to be very good video. I even get a thumbs down for the video. It's like it's a bad recording, but I'm sorry. Like, buy me a camera.
With the PPT we uploaded somewhere.
Yeah. So if you see the show link here is the link to the slides. You can just go to the link and you will get the entire slides. And inside this slide, you will get the link for all the video and slides from previous one. So you get to compare the difference from it. Okay, thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for the support. see you the rest of this day. Thank you.